Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Strife's Sanctum podcast. My name is Citizen Strife, and this week I talk again about the fall season's anime offerings, the 4 of them that I'm continuing to watch and will to the end of the season, because it is getting towards the nitty gritty, I think, and it kind of snuck up on me. It didn't even feel like the end. I think it's because I had Tougen Anki for like half the season, and I'm like, I didn't watch it, and then it's like, where I dropped it. But I didn't know I was that far along in most cases. So now it's like 8 to 10 episodes up, and I'm just like, I'm almost done with the season. One show in particular is going to get a lot of my focus. Other than that, a lot of stuff has stayed the same, but usual rules apply. Spoilers if you haven't watched these shows. And I'm watching dub versions, so I may or may not be ahead. More than likely, I'm behind, though, by a couple weeks. So bear that in mind if I'm just discussing things a couple weeks behind everybody else in some cases. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, that being To Your Eternity. I normally start with SpyxFamily, but holy fucking crap did this show turn a corner. Because I thought it was already going nuts with the Memory storyline and the weird perv dude with the, not even the Lolita complex, but the little sister complex. I thought that was fucked up. They got away from that, killing her off. Oh boy. So hopefully we don't see that dork again. Not Memory, she's fine. It's the brother I hate. But they focused again back on Mizuha and, school-related stuff with Fushi. What I didn't expect was they would go full bore into talking about knocker stuff and really messing with Fushi's brain and, all the stuff he can't really handle. And it really just came to a head with this episode. And when I look back at a lot of what was going on, I knew it was kind of leading here, but I didn't think they would go as just dark as they have. And they they finally get around to explaining Mizuha's actions and killing her mother, which was bad enough. But their explanation goes about because Fushi's trying to track down the knocker who killed Mimori and thinks it's this one girl. The girl doesn't think it's true. Some other dork who shows up is saying Mizuha doesn't, belong to you and you're not paying attention to her. He tries to intervene only for Fushi and Mizuha to just basically nope out of this conversation. The other girl, he tracks her down again and tries to explain things. But Mizuha kills her. And that's where the weird shit happens. Because Fushi's starting to understand that something's wrong with Mizuha, and she doesn't know what's going on, and she's feigning ignorance. All to find out it was the knocker all along. And the explanation is not only did the knocker just kill the girl, she basically kept the knocker version of the other girl alive. And it's really fucking weird. So I'm doing my best to explain. You're doing this scene, and before you even get to the plot dump part, you're trying to describe what is going on with Mizuha, and she's going apoplectic, and Fushi's trying to understand it. They are covered in blood. They are just absolutely covered in puddles of blood. And then they do a close-up of Mizuha's face because all she can think about is still falling for Fushi. While she's smiling with tears of blood going down her nose and her face. Fuck. I had to rewatch that part a second time, as I was watching it, I rewatched it this show is not pulling any punches with this story, and it's still doing it with taste in some cases, like the perv dude is one thing. That's no tact, no taste at all. The fact that they're going very, very disturbing with the storyline, but still doing it in a way that doesn't detract from the story, but elevates it somehow. I mean, this should not work at all. But they're going with the simple answer. It's been the Hyasei Guardian all along. The knocker inside Hyasei has basically just infected and taken form of like all of the obsession. Every little bit of it. They took back to season 2 where the all the freaking Guardian kin tried to get to Fushi, kept trying and trying and trying and trying. Finally worked their way to, I think it was the Kohaku was the one who passed away. He sacrificed himself and the knocker passed away. The knocker reincarnated. That is a red flag. Okay. But whatever. Knockers can do weird shit. So if this is their explanation, they basically say the knocker reincarnated and took hold in Mizuha because she's basically a complete non-entity when it comes to her mother, who is living vicariously through her success. Oh, goody. So we saw that early in the season, and we're trying to figure out where Mizuha is going to go. Oh, she just says no. If Mizuha is going to have this happen, the least we could do is just kill her mother and make her mother feel good so that Mizuha feels good. They still want to deal with Fushi because they know he exists. And they just want everybody to feel good about themselves. They're non-threatening, non-lethal, and yet they kill things. That's how they justify it. They're basically brainwashing people, taking their free will away, and taking away their pain and suffering. And it's fucking weird and disturbing. So now Fushi and his friends have to deal with the knockers again in the guise of like high school kids and all manner of people. And are they threatening? Are they the bad guys? Are we the bad people? We don't know. But the fact that To Your Eternity went from kind of like, it was really fucking good. I will remember the first episode being like one of the most affecting things I've ever seen. The first season stayed really freaking strong. The second season fell off a bit because it was trying to be a little goofy and then doing a lot of like siege tower defense stuff in the middle and then the end, and I'm just like, I don't fucking care. This season has rebounded so goddamn well. So strong. Doing things that even if they would be tasteless to some people, they're doing it in a way that pulls no punches and says, we will make this work out in the end, despite it all. Because there are some times where going too far doesn't work. Let's say Psychopath Season 2. You know, they tried way too hard to be edgy, even for an edgy show, and it didn't work. And it just made the end result kind of... And then they had to rebound with Season 3. So they did. And they went back to what was working. Same idea here. Though in this case, they went full bore and made it make sense. And when you can do that, it just lends itself to crazy imagery. You know, 2 or 3 different times in this season where I've just said, my God, they are just not hiding anything. They're not disguising what it is. They are taking this to an extreme that I was never expecting, which is important and impressive when you consider how good some of the other shows are. SpyxFamily. They've been focusing on the bus. What do they call it? The bus jacker incident? Yes, bus jacker incident. Terrorist people taking over Eden College, and they basically saying, take the dudes that have been terrorists in your prisons and release them and whatever. So they're trying to do that. All the while, Anya's able to kind of hear the stupid shit that the kidnappers are saying. Henry Henderson, the principal, takes a couple of people's places as a hostage. I'm trying to get my words out. To your eternity messed me up quite a bit. And Anya's doing her best to stay calm and collected under the duress of the situation because she knows what the terrorists are planning to do. Terrorists aren't planning to blow them up. Except they are. So they say, but then some of them have cold feet, so she uses that against them in her weird Anya way that doesn't ever work, but somehow still works, because Anya is great, and her plans are stupid, but they always end up working somehow. And it's kind of crazy that they don't really do anything, but it's more of that affecting, the trio's relationship. Anya and Damien, and Anya and Becky and Anya, and what is Damien gonna do? He takes some shine in this episode. He tries his best. On occasion, some other people in the classes try to do what they can. I like that they're in duress as a class. It's a different kind of duress, because we had some Yor focus, we've had some Lloyd focus, we've had plenty of Anya focus, to be fair, but not really as a class. It's mainly been Anya and Damien just bickering at each other, and Becky coming around and being Anya's friend here and there. So it's fun to have like a full-on classroom situation, which is great. So it was a good set of episodes. Again, the stakes in SpyxFamily can take or leave. You never know what's going to be so intense, what's not. But they always kind of bring things back here and there. The other thing I think might have been in the last set of recordings, but Lloyd was dealing with some guy who was getting jealous that he was getting all the attention at the. No, this was the other episodes with Melinda. The side story other than Melinda and Yor was Lloyd being pestered by this guy who says he's the chief doctor in the facility, but really isn't, but sort of is. Whatever, it's not made clear. Trying to get Lloyd fired, but Lloyd picks up on it, plays favorites, but then brings in Frankie and Nightfall and other people to help him, just kill the mood and play a rib and, be the nice guy and all that. So there was a side story. I like little side stories. So when you get these long-term episodes here and there, you like going back to the short-term, side shit. It's fun. Gachiakuta. Still in the trash beast that's flying in the sphere. Will it though? I don't know. They've been building this for about 5 or 6 episodes and going in different places. And there isn't a lot of movement, because I was expecting more from this. It's a lot of like side progressions into the side fights with the people and learning their things, which is good, but realistically they're still in the same thing they're trying to do. I think they're spending the rest of the season just seeing if the trash beast is going to the sphere, or if they're going to stop the dude from flying the trash beast into the sphere. My guess is they're going to stop him. But along the way, some pattern emerged that I noticed about one of the side fights. The cowboy-looking dude, voiced by the guy who did Elias Ainsworth from Ancient Magus Bride, by the way. I caught up on that really quick. Was, pestering a couple of the other characters. A couple of the side dudes that aren't like the main 4 or 5, but is the older dad with his kid who punches walls, with the pacifier and junk. And it's like, they keep threatening to fight. And they keep planning to do it. And it's not like the engine and the kid who says, just hit me and start the fight already. I need it. And engine doesn't. What's going on is like the cowboy raider dude keeps saying, well, we're going to get in a fight and it's going to be fun or some shit like that. Let's get this, going. And then like, they never get going. They've introduced this guy like 5 episodes ago. And it's like every time they're going to do something, they show off a different person's power or other things happen and they just keep talking and they don't do anything. And then all of a sudden the trash beast a couple episodes ago starts climbing and flying. So then as soon as they're trying to get the fight started, the trash beast flies and they are in a car just speeding up trying to avoid certain death by fall. So they don't fight again. It's the weirdest freaking thing, and I know they had to have planned it. They had to have planned it intentionally to not have these three people fight, but talk about fighting every single episode. And I'm starting to wonder if it's actually gonna happen, or if it's gonna be one of those like weird sight gags where it's like, we gonna fight now. No, we're not. You're dead in seconds. Basically, the end of the girls' fight with the gun, except they had an actual fight. And then she pulled out her gun. This would be like, no, really, we're just like, no, we're fucking dead. You know, it's weird because they've been doing these 3 or 4 different side stories for all the main characters, and they get these epic fights, and then this other set of characters just get a bunch of talking, and I just hit the microphone. I'm good. I'm smart. Still working, though. Anyway, thank God for shock mounts. Anyway, so Gachiakuta moving in its own fanciful way towards the finish. I get the feeling that either the sphere awaits them with the trash beast, or the trash beast. I can enunciate. The trash beast gets blowed up. I'm guessing it's going to be the trash beast blowed up. But when you consider that Rudo's whole thing is getting back to the sphere, you would think they might actually just go back to the sphere and change the dynamic of the show. I don't know. So I'm curious where they're going to go. They got 4 episodes left, give or take. Final show to talk about, With You, Our Love Will Make It Through. I'm going to keep saying With You in the Rain, but that was last season. But big thing is they introduced another character. They introduced a cat girl. Legit cat girl. You know, because beast folk. Cat girl. So, of course, dog person, childhood friend is a cat, I guess. I don't know. And I like her enough. Was it Kisala? One of the two. Like, she comes in, threatens Isekai, and basically just realizes, like, midway through the episode is like, she's not going to compete. It's not going to fucking matter. Doesn't matter. Fucking whatever. But she still lends a dynamic to the show, because as much as I like it, it does get old. Having like the 3 main characters and maybe like 1 or 2 side people, to have another main character, even if it's not really a full-on like love cube or love square, you know, it's one of those love square, you know, because childhood friends never win, right? I mean, isn't childhood friend? Isn't there a show like the childhood friend never wins, so she tries again? Or what? I would not be shocked if there is a manga or an anime version of that shit. You know, so she already knows that these two fall for each other and whatever, and there's just no way around it. It's basically softcore porn with some of the dialogue they're talking about, you know, and you know, the other main dude, the basketball friend, is like, I know I shouldn't be falling for her, so I just want to be their friend and support them, because I know I'm not going to win. So I do like that they tease things still, even though I know that it's like, the more you do it, the less sense it's going to make, because you already know that these two are an item, so just roll with it. And I'm curious where the other 2 characters fall in, because you have 2 beast folk, you have 2 humans, and they're either friends or frenemies or enemies or whatever, and it's like, there's still stuff there, meat on the bone, and like, even if it's not like the best show, and some of the dialogue does veer into like, it's a bit pornographic, you know, sort of. Like, this is the closest you can get to hentai without any boobies, you know, something like that, without, you know, actually doing fan service. So it's like, they focus on like internal monologues, and they use this kind of language. I'm shocked they haven't used the words penis and boobs and vagina yet. And, oh no, I said the bad words. But, you know, they don't say those words, but a lot of the stuff is like, my scent, I feel it on you, or I sense it on you, and I'm going mad. I'm like, dude, it's like, Jesus, they're trying to avoid the obvious, right? but they're using that. But again, this show still has the interviews with Monster Girls thing of people don't understand beast folk, and they have their own town and stuff in the middle of the city, walled off, and like a lot of people were bullied, and then you can bully them if you show up there, unless you're, bigotry and racism and shit. It's a cool concept. They don't focus on it enough because the love relationship stuff has to take hold, but it informs a lot of the narrative, at least, and it stays in the foreground enough that there's like, okay, they're building some stuff. They're taking their time with this because they have 10 episodes, 12 episodes to build these things. And what's the point of doing this entire show if you're not going to focus on bullying and racism and the whole interspecies aspect and the interviews with Monster Girls comparisons? And it's like, God damn it, why can't I get another interviews with Monster Girls season? It's great. Anyway, but, stuff like that. You understand these characters enough where they're coming from. They're nothing new. Nothing about the show does anything amazing, but it does enough, and I think it's good enough that it has an interesting premise that they are at least tapping into enough, rather than, a lot of basic shit could have just been basic droll, and they could have just thrown this out there with no class. And I do think that the show is at least giving some modicum of effort. It's not on the Gachiakuta or To Your Eternity or God forbid SpyxFamily level of intrigue. But, it still gives something. There is something there, and I think there's something to be mined there. I think they're trying. So I'm hopeful that the rest of the season pans out. And I'm interested. So those are those 4 shows that I'm going to keep going until the end of the season. Hopefully they announce, mostly Crunchyroll, but even Netflix. Hopefully they announce stuff for next season so that I can get into that. But for now, I'll call it here, and I'll see you next time. Let's see what is on the docket, though. Because we've got Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. I've done a recording on that, so that's next week. Kaloon Generic Romance, Suikoden 1 and 2 Remaster, To Your Eternity, No Sleep for Kaname Date, and I've chosen a movie that I recently watched and absolutely adored. It was known as Makia, When the Promised Flower Blooms. I was very impressed watching that movie, and I was affected so heavily by it. It was like Violet Evergarden territory in terms of drama, and I was really impressed by it. So I'm doing that at the end of February. But that will do it for me today, and I'll see you next time. Citizen Strife, signing off.